how to make my homemade tiramisu, a delicious exclusive recipe from Jane's Patisserie every day, and it's one of my favourites. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today I'm making an absolutely splendid and delicious dessert, which is an iconic classic from my book Everyday, which is the tiramisu. It's one of my favourite recipes in my third book, and I just thought, you know, I'll just do a little exclusive treat for you from the book and give you the recipe that so many people ask for all of the time. And you know, I just thought, why not? You can have it on YouTube, you can watch it, and tiramisu is probably one of my favourite desserts. I never think that I used to go, it's got coffee in it. Honestly, it is delicious. It's so easy to make. This is quite a classic one with whipped egg whites, whipped egg yolks, mascarpone, the sponge fingers, and some Kahlua. And honestly, you will adore it. So let's get making my tiramisu. When you start your tiramisu, you have the classic eggs, which is 3 medium eggs split into your egg whites and your egg yolks, as well as some caster sugar to help sweeten your dessert. This is just some strong instant coffee. Any brand will do, but the stronger the better. And you have a little bit of cocoa powder for decoration. Of course, you then have some sponge fingers. These are just shop bought ones, but you know, any will do. You need the classic sponge finger for a tiramisu. You have an extra little bit of sweetness with some vanilla, again optional, or you can add a different flavouring if you prefer. And then we have some mascarpone. Of course, the most important bit for me is the Kahlua. You can make this alcohol free by just adding in some more coffee if you want, but if you want a classic tiramisu, Kahlua is the way to go. And then a little bit of boiling water, but honestly, it sounds like a lot of ingredients, but it's gonna be so easy to make. I'm just gonna start by adding my instant coffee to a bowl, and then I'm gonna pour in my boiling water. And then I'm gonna add in my Kahlua as well. Once you've dissolved your coffee in the water and added your Kahlua, you can now leave this to the side whilst you make the rest of the tiramisu. This bit you'll need later for dunking your sponge fingers into before you put into your dish. So when you're making a tiramisu like this, I've gone with quite a classic recipe, which requires whipping the egg whites, the egg yolks, and they are raw eggs for this recipe, but it is safe to eat as long as you use safe eggs. So for this one, you start by whipping your egg yolks and your sugar for about 8 minutes. So it's quite a long time, but trust me, it's worth it. It'll make them really pale, whippy, and lovely. And then you add in your mascarpone and your vanilla and whip that in as well. And then in a separate bowl, you start whisking your egg whites to stiff peaks, you fold it all together and you get this luxuriously smooth, delicious cream filling. And then you start layering your tiramisu. It sounds a bit faffy, but trust me, it's so much easier to make than you think. And it's the classic way to make a delicious tiramisu. Start by adding your egg yolks to your bowl, and then add your caster sugar. And then we're gonna whisk these together for about 8 minutes so it's really pale and smooth. So once the 8 minutes are done, it's so pale and thick and smooth. After it's whipped, you then add in your mascarpone, and then I add a little bit of vanilla. And then you whisk these again to combine. And it's ready. Now that the other mixture is mixed, we're just going to whisk our egg whites to stiff peaks. You can tell they're at stiff peaks as it will completely hold itself on the whisk. So once you have both of your mixtures, you want to add half of your egg whites into your cream cheese and egg mix and fold it together, and then the other half and fold again. This will make the creamy bit of your tiramisu. And once we've done that, we can then start dipping our sponge fingers and start layering in the dish. So now everything is ready. What you do is you grab a sponge finger, you lightly dip it into the coffee mixture and then just lay it into your dish. Once you have a layer of sponge fingers, add half your cream mix and then repeat. Then you can set it in the fridge for about 5 hours, lightly dust with your cocoa powder and enjoy delicious homemade tiramisu. All I do is I literally grab a sponge finger, quickly dip it in and then place into my dish and repeat until you have a whole layer. And then add on half of your cream layer and then just spread it over. And then you repeat your sponge finger layer. And then add on the second half of your cream layer. So once everything is in your dish, it's now time to set. It does take about 5 hours in the fridge, so if you ever want to make this for a dessert in the evening, make it in the morning. The longer the setting time, the better. But once it has set, you can then dust on your cocoa powder and enjoy a giant slice of your homemade tiramisu. Now that it's set in the fridge, we can finish it off with a little layer of cocoa powder for decoration. So that is how you make my homemade tiramisu, the recipe found in Jane's Patisserie Everyday, my 3rd book. So it's delicious, it's classic. If you love tiramisu, you're gonna love this recipe too. I'll put the recipe in the description box below and I'll put a link to the book so you can buy it for all the other delicious recipes that are in there, and I hope you love it too. So come back next week for something utterly scrumptious and delicious as always. Give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already.